This is Eric LeBoeuf. He's one of the tour guides. Gold Beach Evasion is the name of the company he works for. And I think he's just joined us. Eric?
Yeah.
How's it going? You're speaking to Ross and Nightmare and you're live on the air.
Eric, it's nice to meet you. I am enamored with your website, even though my college French did not translate well 25 years later. Let everybody know what it is exactly that you guys do at the Gold Beach Evasion.
Well, we're a tour guide company. What we do is we bring clients that come out here to learn the stories of what happened here on D-Day. That's basically it. We can do either private tours or just regular an overview of the entire beach invasion story. That's what we do. We take people in trucks and drive them around, show them the sights, show them pictures of before and after, and try to teach them something. I think
that was something that I saw recently online. Somebody had went around to a lot of the more famous World War II photos, and they merged them with today in the exact same
fantastic
spot. It's absolutely mind-blowing how much stuff hasn't changed in 70 years versus how much stuff actually has changed.
And that's the number one question we get, especially from our American tourists, God bless them. But they come out here and, you're driving around and they say, was that house here during, the war? And you're like, yeah, that house is like 200 years old. So
don't you just love the unwashed, uneducated Americans?
I wouldn't say that. I'm Canadian myself. So
well, as somebody sitting smack dab in the middle of Kansas City, I'll say it.
Right. Well, I'll admit, back in Canada, we don't get the education of World War II we should get. But no, most of the clients we get are generally interested in the story, so they already have a pretty good basis of what's going on. So, yeah.
Well, I don't know. Have you been listening to the show?
Yes, I have. Yeah.
Okay. Well, you got a lot of accolades there from George and Chris for the job that you guys are doing, and like I told them, I think that what you're doing is so important to keep not only the knowledge base but the traditions alive, and to show people exactly what went down and where it was, because until you're standing there in a spot like that, you fully can't appreciate or understand what we're actually talking about. And I've never been there. I would love to go one of these days, and I plan on it. It's on my bucket list, but when I get there, I'm going to call you because you're gonna show me all the ropes.
Oh yeah, definitely. I'm looking forward to it. I can tour Nightmare. Wow, cool. Are you kidding me? It's on bucket list.
Now, let me ask you this: when you're taking is it solely tourists, or have you taken around guys like Chris and George predominantly? I mean, what is your demographic on your tours?
Well, I've taken some celebrities. I've taken politicians. I've taken David Dewhurst Jr. from Texas, actually, where Chris is from. I've taken him on trips because his father fought here. He was a pilot on a B-26 Marauder, and so I showed him the ropes on that. Took him to the cemetery, showed him guys that were part of the same unit. You get all kinds of people. You get your regular people, from small town USA to your bigwigs, But in the end of the day, you treat them all the same. The point is, as a tour guide in Normandy, you're trying to teach everybody the same thing, and leave with, remember what these guys did. This is not for granted. I mean, I live out here now. I've immigrated from Canada to here. And what these guys did some 70 years ago, I mean, I don't know.
I have the same look on my face now that because I can see you on the webcam. I have the same look on my face when I try to tell young people or even other people my age that there's no way any of the generations in the last 70 years would pick up and do what these men and women did 70 years ago.
You're absolutely right. I mean, I come from a family where I got two of my family members, two great uncles who did the Normandy campaign, and that's what drew me into this this passion, if you like, if you wish. You know, I think guys like myself, or even Paul Woodage, that you've mentioned a couple of times on your show. I mean, he's got an uncle who fought in this too, and we look at these guys and we say, wow, like you did this, you went back home. I knew you as an old guy,
right?
And man, you've been through all this, and then a series like Band of Brothers comes out, or a Saving Private Ryan, which just hits the nail on the head, and you say, my God, he lived that? No way.
Yeah.
No way. No way.
I can remember the news stories that were so prevalent the day after the premiere of Saving Private Ryan, when all of the veterans went to see the movie, and they were just floored and flabbergasted and brought to so much emotion because of how well they captured that initial first 10 minutes of that movie that was just utter chaos, fear, and terror working as one to do one thing, and they had to do it, and there was no turning back. And I'm getting goosebumps and emotional just thinking about it.
Well, see, my uncles never wanted to see the movie because of that.
Well,
and they never did. They both passed away without seeing it, because they just said, I've been through it once.
Right.
That's the thing with these guys. I mean, unfortunately, both of my uncles are passed away now, and I did not get the chance to film them, and tell their stories, which is why I work with the WW2 Foundation. I believe what Tim is doing is it's great. It's absolutely great to get these stories on film. And if they're not being used today, they'll be used, next year or the year after.
Absolutely. Well, and I want to pimp out the website again for World War II Foundation, wwiifoundation.org. Go there, give them your pennies, donate money, tell them you'll volunteer, whatever it takes. We have to keep the foundation working towards the knowledge that we're going to continue to lose when we're losing 700 veterans a day.
Absolutely. I've been volunteering for Tim now since 2011 out here. It's an absolutely great thing he does.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's why I don't question when he needs me to talk about something, or he sends somebody to me, or he gets a hold of Ross and says, hey, we're doing this. I'm like, yeah, we're talking about it. Let's do it, because it's too important for everybody else. And if, like Chris was saying, yeah, I got a microphone and a portal, so I can do that, and I think it's that important for me to, dedicate my entire show to it.
Sure, absolutely. You know what? This is a great opportunity. By the way, thank you, Ross. Yo, dude. I know you're out there.
You're welcome. You're welcome. I'm here.
Yeah, I can't wait to see you again.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it, Eric. It's going to be good. It's going to be great. I'm looking forward to it again. I'm especially looking forward to another dose of Calvados.
Oh, no. Don't do that.
Another
dose
of what?
Don't do that.
Calvados. It's like rocket fuel.
It's rocket fuel. It's apple brandy. It's no.
Well, send me some, because I don't think we have that here.
Special stuff.
Oh man. Well, so what do you have planned for the June 6th extravaganza with the World War II Foundation?
Well, the thing is, we can't really get into what we have planned because we don't want to have too many fans.
Right.
You understand?
Absolutely.
We do have a plan of action. Like last year, we have a plan of what we're going to do. Like last year, I was under secrecy for Damian Lewis. I was the one driving him around. I couldn't talk to anybody about anything. So, this year it's sort of the same thing. Tim, sent me the plan of where and when and how things are going to happen. There are some private events that are going to happen. The Breakcore thing is private. It's just for us, the actors, and the family members and whatever invited guests. But unfortunately, I can't give too much. However, we will have an extravaganza, a couple of extravaganzas, happening at the Overlord Museum. That's just in front of the cemetery, actually, the American Cemetery here in Normandy. We're having that on June 5th. On June 6th, we're going to have another Band of Brothers signing event happening at Utah Beach Museum, which is a fantastic museum, by the way. And the 7th, we're going to have in the morning another signing opportunity for the fans. That's about all I can give you right now. The rest is pretty much private. It's myself, Paul Woodage, Dominique, and a couple of other guides that are just going to be driving the guys around and showing them the sights.
It's certainly going to be busy.
Oh, definitely.
It's going to be crazy.
Good 5 days. A good 5 days busy, eh?
Yeah, but it was so much. I mean, it's kind of a roller coaster, because it's you can, 1 minute you're enjoying yourself, and then the next minute you're sort of deep in thought, and you're sort of,
that is true. That's true. I don't know. Were you there when we were at Breakcore with Paul?
Yeah.
I always remember when we went, to the gun emplacements, and I wasn't expecting this, but it's true. Here you have these actors that portrayed these real men, and we're at Breakcore, and we're going through, the whole story and all that. And at one point, we stopped at gun number 2, where John Derek Halls was killed. Unfortunately, it's the young guy who was killed. And all of a sudden, Paul's telling the story of this is where John Halls got killed and all this and that. And all of a sudden, you saw like James, Matteo, and Robin just sort of go down in the hole, And there was a moment there. I find that really special, I thought that was the most touching thing I saw this time around. I just have this memory of that. Touched the ground with their hand, saying this is where one of those boys died.
Yeah.
No.
Well,
but
those guys do such a great job of making sure that they're upholding the memory of the men they portrayed so well.
Absolutely. And the thing is, they're always amazed also at what kind of reaction they get here. I remember after the Utah Beach signing event, it was late at night. We were going to head over to the other side to the restaurant to have our evening, and James Matteo is standing next to me, and he's, and we're looking outside, and there's a bunch of people out there still waiting with their cameras and scrapbooks and whatever. And James looks at me and goes, "This is unbelievable. We don't get this back in the States." It's like, well, you're in Normandy, my friend. Everybody knows.
Right.
That series, And I think it's going to be the same thing again this time. Which is why, this time, or last time when I was with Damien, everything had to be hush-hush. I mean, obviously being Damien Lewis from the Band of Brothers, but also by that time in France, the series Homeland had come out.
Yep.
So driving him around, it was kind of, cool to be stopped by the gendarmes, because there was roadblocks everywhere in Normandy because we had the president here and all that. And when we were stopped, and they'd look into the van, they'd see Damien sitting there. They'd go, "Oh, Maudit!" You're like, "Yeah, can we get through now? We need to get, to such a place."
I wish I had a face that opened doors like that.
Yeah, me too.
There's a reason why I'm on the radio.
But you know what? Yeah. You just had George Les on, and his face helped me a lot. George Les Jr., the night we went to see the Helen Patton concert, we were faced by roadblock after roadblock after roadblock. We needed to get to this concert lickety-split. And so to get through the concert, I led the way with the band, and I had, the other guys behind me, in different cars following me. And I just told George, I said, just put on your glasses, act really serious, and act like a big friggin' movie producer. And so he did. He did. And as soon as you stop, I put a Band of Brothers picture in the window. First cop would stop me. "Well, where are you going? This is a closed door." And I was like, "Do you know who this is? This is assistant producer to Steven Spielberg." And of course, George would look over and, yes, We got through, 2 fingers in the nose, man. It was great. It was absolutely wonderful. It was wonderful.
Oh, my
stories
God.
like that I'm going to tell my children later on.
That's awesome. Now we got now we got something to rib George about next time he calls up when you guys get back from Normandy, because he didn't tell us that.
He's the big movie producer. He was awesome.
Oh man, that is too funny. Well, did you have to hire anybody else since we got so many more actors coming in? Did you have to get another driver to move these boys around?
Actually, we're looking for a driver right now with a van. That's what we're looking for. We're up to 5 vans right now. We need a 6th one because there's a lot of people this year. I mean, this time I think the actors are coming with their wives and sometimes their children, so we need room. You know.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, if I lived closer, you could have my Ford Explorer. It's almost like a van. It's got 3rd row seating, and I could drive it. Now,
no problem.
Unfortunately, that would probably cost more than it would be beneficial for you to fly me and my truck over. But yeah, it's an option.
Yes, it would. and we work for free for these events. So
right. Well, I wouldn't expect to be paid. I just want to get something to eat and hang out with you.
Well, that we can do. I could put you up in my house here. I'm already expecting 3 people here, so.
Nice. Well, your hospitality and your business as it is, you're doing absolutely amazing work, Eric, and I want to say thank you, and I appreciate it, even though it's probably going to be a few years before I get to experience it. It's still something that I think is not only necessary but should be mandatory.
I agree. You know what? I'll I know you guys are a little bit pressed on time here and everything, but one of my uncles gave an interview. Well, actually, it was part of a documentary, and they ended the documentary with him. He was a talking head at that point, and I remember these words I say to all my clients at the end of the visit. My uncle said, right into the camera, he said, "All my generation really did was plant the seeds of liberty in the world of love. And it's up to us now to take care of that garden." And so I make it a point today, to take care of that garden by telling these people that, what these guys did, we have to take care of it today. And I remember that when he passed away in 2009, I wrote him a letter. Well, actually, I spoke at the funeral, and I told him, I said, "Dear uncle, your garden, we're taking care of it. There's a lot of weeds.
Oh, you're choking me up, Eric.
But otherwise, it's a beautiful, beautiful thing." That's the point. That's the point I think most of the guides out here are trying to make, is that these guys came out here as 20-somewhat-year-old guys. When I was 20 years old, I knew nothing.
Ugh. I don't even want to tell you how much I didn't know when I was 20.
Tell you. And these guys became men on a beach.
Yeah.
Or became men in a forest or behind a hedgerow or jumping out of a sky or whatever it was. And I don't want to forget that.
There's no way I would have had the emotional stability at the age of 20 to go through what those guys did, or what any of our soldiers have gone through that have been in war, and come back and not have it, and not me just be completely a wreck. I just don't know how I could handle that.
That's the thing, is that these guys came back and they had a life.
Right.
And today we complain because we stubbed our toe on something.
Or our internet connection's down.
Exactly. Or, well, my cell phone doesn't work, or whatever. I mean, this is unbelievable. These are guys that, and I talk about that. I also talk about, how about the people who've been through concentration camps and made it out and immigrated to America or Canada and build businesses and lives? And, I mean, come on. Come on. And look at us.
Yeah.
Look at us today, This X generation who complains about everything and nothing.
Well, and I kind of feel like a vulture sometimes, just
Absolutely.
living off of the dead carrion of our past.
Well, the thing is that if we do live like that, we have to appreciate it.
Well, I try to appreciate life every single day. And one of the ways I do it is, having guys like you come on and tell us about everything that you're doing to make sure that the knowledge base doesn't die, and you can continue to show generations of people why we live the way we do now, because of one solitary generation of men and women that stopped evil in its tracks.
Yeah, yep. And I hope that there'll be another generation to do that now.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, we still haven't figured out how to stop evil before it becomes evil, but we're working on it.
Yeah, we're working on it. That, like I said, the garden's got some weeds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Check out Eric and Gold Beach Evasion. Obviously, during the entire event, he's going to be extremely busy, but come early, stay late, take the tour, and enjoy the knowledge that he's giving you for his, for what he's learned, and he's passing it on. It's unbelievable work that you're doing, Eric, and I appreciate it.
Hey, you know what? Back at you. You and Ross Owen. Ross, love you, boy. You guys are doing an amazing job. I've been on your site. I've checked out what you've done and everything, and you're getting the word out there with shows like these tonight. Thank you.
You know what? Thank you very much for that. I mean, we may not be NBC or BBC, but at the end of the day, all we're trying to do is get the information out there and sharing that information with people who are listening because they're interested in Band of Brothers or they're interested in Normandy.
Yeah.
If they've got an interest and they're listening in, and then they go and buy a ticket and come to this event, they're going to have a hell of an experience. I mean, it's changed. It changed my life going there last year. Yeah, absolutely. When I came home, I was sort of lecturing my son, more so than ever. He would moan about something silly, like you were just saying about people moaning about internet connections and what have you. And you feel it's, clipping their ear and saying, look at this, what these guys did at your age. I mean, when I was 20, I was dressing up as a squirrel, and these guys were
as a squirrel.
Cyril the Squirrel was my name. I should have just left that one. I thought you were surprisingly quiet.
Oh my God!
At 20, I was dressing up as Cyril the Squirrel. That was my full-time occupation, and that's my point. We've got an easy life.
Yes, we do.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Without a doubt. Yeah, it's just so sad that they're disappearing so fast. I mean, that's life. That's a cycle of life. But I'm sort of scared that these World War II veterans will become like our World War I veterans, where nobody talks about World War I anymore.
Yeah, we have the World War I memorial, the only one in America, right here in Kansas City. I've been here 14 years. My dumbass hasn't even been there yet.
There's only one
in
the United States.
Yeah, and it's in Kansas City, and it's a 5-story tall tower in a museum. It's a beautiful thing. I see it every day on my way to work, and I see it on the news every day in the morning.
Wow, that is amazing, because here, when you visit France, every single town has got a World War I monument.
Well, and they would, because that was that was where it all took place. I mean, I'm sure that if you went to the South, they still have a lot of Confederate war memorials, but that's only because it happened where that was. I mean, so far, with the exception of Hirohito waking the beast up, we really haven't. We've been lucky. Nobody's tried to invade us. And cause us to fight on our own land, and I think that's where a lot of our complacency comes from, is that we've never had to deal with a war that wasn't us fighting us right here on our own soil.
I'll agree with you to an extent, but when we know of what happened, because we know the United States joined the war, let's say by 1942, let's be honest. But we have guys, I know being Canadian, we have Royal Canadian Air Force pilots, which were American, the Eagle Squadron, which came from the States starting in 1939, 1940. Yeah. So even if you guys did get in late, there were still some Americans who said, no way, what's going on in Europe should not be going on. I'm going to join,
and then you had the entire group of individuals that couldn't join because they were black, that went north and became, some of the best pilots we've ever seen.
Hey, I hear you. Absolutely. I got to meet a couple of those guys.
Oh, God bless you. You are in such a better position than I am to land the hero worship where it belongs. You know,
Well, you know what?
so much of
you-
our hero worship gets put on the wrong people, and by being able to tell and meet the guys that should have the hero worship on it, I'm green with envy, Eric. I really am.
You just have to be here. You know, this is where they come. I'm just lucky enough to have been able to work at the Utah Beach Museum, at the American Cemetery. You know, I've been in the right place at the right time, and this is where these guys come. If you put yourself in the position to meet the guys, that's where, you know, that's how it happens.
That's true. That's true.
You know, that's how I got to meet, you know, a lot of the original Band of Brothers guys. You know, or others. You know, like the Eagle Squadron guys or the Tuskegee Airmen guys. And it's just fantastic. I'm still good friends with a few veterans online that come out every year, and you know, but it's just being at the right place at the right time. And if you were out here, Nightmare, this would be your reality.
Well,
you know?
and I would greatly embrace the reality.
Yeah,
I would. When I was like, God, it would have been 78, 79. I was so infatuated with World War II. I built a diorama in my bedroom that was 8 feet long and 3.5 feet wide of a tank battle in northern Egypt, complete with little Nazis and German tanks and the whole 9 yards. My favorite TV show at the time was Rat Patrol reruns on Sunday morning. You know,
Yes.
I was infatuated with this, and I wish I had the memory that I did when I was a kid, because I read all the books, I studied all the maps, and I have since downloaded that information for stupid stuff like beer recipes from 6,500 years ago.
good.
And you know, and one of the first books my mother bought me, I still have, on World War II, and it's an art book with nothing but drawings and paintings and cartoons, not only of the period but by the soldiers, and it's absolutely amazing. And that's how I can still remember when I first got it. I pored over every second of that book, every page, every paragraph, every picture, and it just blew me away. But in the front covers, front and back covers, are all the insignias of everything and everybody that was in World War II and all their units from the American side. And so when I look at stuff, I'm like, oh, I know those guys. You know, the Supreme Headquarters of Allied Expeditionary Forces. You know, the flaming sword with the rainbow. You know, that was, they call it something else now, but in World War II, that's what they called it.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's to me, it's a long lost passion. But with you guys keeping the memory alive, I have went back. My books have grown. Not as bad as Chris's. I don't have 200 of them, but I do have the ones that are important to me. That and then I find a new one and I pick it up. But I can't thank you enough for doing what you're doing, and I wish I had the cash and the time to fly over and spend 5 days with you, because I'd volunteer to drive, just because I know